So now I introduce the next speaker, which is Michel Kemper, which is also a Dutch citizen, also started his career at Shell as the previous speaker, but then joined Ikon Science in 1999, which is at least almost 20 years by now. His current role within the company is Research Technical Director, and the title of his talk is From a Small Fish in a Big Pond to Large Fish in a Small Pond. Please.
There we go. Right, well, thanks very much. Very happy to be here. I look forward to, I mean, I've never done anything like this, so I only give technical presentations all my life, so this is the first sort of non-technical one, so we'll see how we go. Yeah, so from a small fish in a big pond, that's when I was at Shell, because, you know, I'm just a small guy in a very big organization. And then I went to Ikon Science, which of course is a small organization, but now I'm a big guy in a small organization. So it's a bit from this to this. And so that's what I am now. Well, you know, realistically, it's got to be a little bit one or the other, you know. I mean, in a way, of course, we all want to become a top dog in, you know, the CEO of Exxon or Shell or whatever, you know. But of course, algebra teaches us that it's just not possible, you know. So, so you either have to be, you know, and there's very good career paths in the Shells, the Exxons, and the Chevrons, etc. of this world, the big integrated oil companies, or you have to go to a smaller company. And that's what I did. I went from a big company to a small company. So I'll describe that journey, and I'll give some advice along the way. But remember what Oscar Wilde said: the only good thing to do with good advice is to pass it on, because it is never of any use to oneself. And basically what I want to say with that is a little bit of a disclaimer as well. I give you advice, but in the end of the day, you've got to make up your own mind. So, and this is, you know, I find it a little bit scary to tell you to do something, because actually I don't really know. And if you look at a lot of careers of people, there's a lot of sort of happenstance in there. You know, you sort of fall in one place and you happen to go there, and you find your niche, and you know, you have to sort of move and shake, and you'll find something. So I'm a little bit scared about giving too much advice, but I'll give it anyway, but it's up to you. So I'll give a little bit of my timeline. I studied physics in Amsterdam. As you can see, it was not in the early 14th century, but almost. And then I joined Shell in '86, stayed there for a couple of years in The Hague, and then I moved to Shell Expo in London, in Shell Max House. You see that picture there. Very nice building on the Thames. Then I went for 4 years to Shell in Port Harcourt in Nigeria, where I did a variety of jobs, which I actually enjoyed tremendously. I don't think there are any Nigerians here, but I had a really great time in Nigeria. Then I went back to Shell initially as a seismic interpreter, and in 1999, Shell decided to move from Shell Max House in London, every Dick, Tom and Harry, to Aberdeen. Now, for family reasons, that was not a good move for me. So at that time I quit. By the way, oil price when I quit, $9 a barrel. So I was also, you know, like, oh, is that all going to work? But, you know, I'm still here, still have food on the table. Yeah, and then basically from 1999, I've been with Ikon Science. First as a team leader in sort of petrophysics, petroacoustics, and then later as research and innovation director. And I've been, you know, what gets me out of bed in Ikon Science is very much is technology. I love innovating. And, you know, the oil industry is actually, and it got to change, but it's actually quite a conservative industry. You know, it's sort of like, why do you do this? Oh, well, that's how we've always done it. And you know, I really love to shake it about and try to get into innovative workflows, changing the whole game. And well, you guys, you know, it's very well known that young people always are more creative than old farts like me. So be creative. Although you will find, you know, that you will have to fight for your corner, because there are always older guys who say, oh, well, we tried that back in '86 and it didn't work, or stuff like that. So you really need to, really persist. Yeah. So basically, as I showed you in that timeline, I made that change from being a small fish in a big pond in Shell to a big fish in a small pond, tiny pond. You know, compared to Shell, Ikon size, of course, is minute. And you know, what is good about being in a big company and what's good about being in a small company? At least I can only give you my experience. But what I really like about being in a small company, it's really direct. You know, if you're you know, you impact the bottom line a lot. You know, I must say, when I was at Shell, and of course I've been away now for 70 years, so I hope it is a bit more, well, no longer as it used to be. But back in 1999, when I left Shell, it was decidedly snoozy place. And I tell you, for instance, when I joined Ikoda, I was starting on Monday, we should do the beginning of the week. On Sunday night, the night before, my future boss phoned me up and says, Michel, I want you to do the petrophysics of the Tengiz field, 186 wells, if I recall directly, and said, I need your report by Friday, 1 week, 186 wells. Now, that's, of course, in a way also ridiculous. You can't do a fabulous job, but it just goes to show you, in these small companies, man, you have to, you know, work hard and get to results pretty damn quick. You're more in control of your own destiny in a small company, which I think makes a lot of sense, but you got to impact the bottom line. Yeah? I mean, I was, as it says there, when I was in Nigeria, I was ill for half a year, and I have to say Shell took excellent care of me. You know, they didn't fire me, and my job was there when I got back, and I got my salary, and absolutely perfectly fine. But did it impact the Shell share price? No, it didn't. You know, so in a way, you wonder why am I actually there if I'm away for half a year and the share price is not making any movement. You know, what am I actually doing? Well, I tell you, in Ikon, if I'm away for a week, you know, I always get phoned up, and you know what happens. You know, you're really, everybody is needed because you're in a sort of minimum configuration. Also, what you do is, when you're in a small company, you have to go to a lot of clients. You know? You have to go out there and sell your wares, which is, you know, that's what you do as a service company. And that's actually great fun. I mean, I remember the first time I did it, because in Shell you don't. You know, you're in your Shell community. You go sometimes, you go to forums like this, you meet other people. But on the whole, you're in your Shell world. You know? And now you go to all these clients, and you know, I'm not selling second-hand encyclopedias. You know, I'm selling some real good stuff. Well, I think so. You know, if you don't believe in what you sell, you know, you're not going to succeed. But I do believe in what we sell, and it's great fun. And I have a lot of friends in all these oil companies now, left, right, and center, all over the world, which is really nice. What I miss from Shell, you know, so i.e. what's good about being in the big pond, is they got, and I presume that's still true, and also true for the Exxons, the Chevrons, and that sort of stuff. Excellent training, and of course an enormous support network. You know, if don't know how to solve something in Ikon, I got to work it out myself. But you know, in Shell you've got a lot of other people with lots of brain power, so you can learn a lot. That's for sure. And also, I mean, I did meet some fantastic colleagues that I'm still very much in touch with, very good friends of mine. So I really enjoyed my time at Shell as well. Would I have done it differently? Well, look, like I said, some of this is just sort of happens, you know, and certain details. You know, did I make mistakes? Of course, everybody does. That's just human. But I think this sort of combination of a good time in a big oil company and then a switch to a small company has worked exceedingly well for me. And I can recommend it to you. Again, whether you do it, it's up to you. And also from a financial point of view, you know, when you're in a small company, you get shares in the company, which of course focuses you on making the company a real success and the like. So I think it's been a good move for me, maybe also for you. Now, advice, well, that's for me the difficult bit, but I remember myself when I was younger that I quite liked the idea of becoming a boss, yeah? A team leader, and you know, being a, you know, I've realized myself I don't actually like it so much. You know, I do actually am a team leader, but you know, on the whole, you know, you're working with exceedingly clever people, and it's not my idea of fun to tell very clever people what to do. On the whole, they're doing a fine job anyway. Now, that's not to say don't become a team leader. You may well want to do that, go for it. But make sure you do what you want and don't do what you think is expected of you. You know? If you want to become a team leader, do. But if you want to stay, for instance, absolutely excellent in your technical discipline, then you know, that is also perfectly fine. And there are a lot of examples of that. I know many people who are absolutely the absolute bestest in their field, and they don't get clobbered with the admin that comes with being a manager and that sort of stuff. They can just keep doing their excellent technical work, and frankly, that's what I prefer. But again, what is it that you want? You need to find it out for yourself and then go for it. By the way, if you become a boss, I've got sort of 2 little tips which stood me in good stead. If somebody does a good job, make it known. Yeah, what I say there is congratulate publicly. Well, if somebody screws up, you know, admonish or punish privately. You know, you don't go in public saying, "God, you did a bad job." No, yet you do in private. It's very important because you can piss people off, and that's not a good thing. Another thing is don't fight fights that are not worth fighting. You know, sometimes you can have these discussions about something so incredibly unimportant, and it sort of gets out of control. Don't bother. Only fight things that you really feel are important. And also, if you keep quiet about a lot of stuff, then the 1 or 2 times that you actually do pipe up, you get noticed. Yeah? So there you go. Another bit of advice is make an impact. Yeah? I mean, technical excellence is all good and well, but if you make a fantastic algorithm that doesn't impact the bottom line, that doesn't actually help the business, what are you doing? Yeah? So, you know, you need to find a niche, basically, and then, you know, where you think things can be improved, and then go about improving them. So basically, don't only do your job as your boss wants to do, also try to have some own responsibility, some own innovation, if you like, you know. And I think people like that. If you do your job plus a bit more, who's going to complain? But most important of all, as I said at the fun, you know, have a bit of fun as well. You know, I mean, the oil industry, I have to say, I've had a lot of incredible fun. And I remember, for instance, when I was in Shell, I was there with Roland Gelling, and you probably know him. He's still at Shell, and we had such a laugh. We were sort of crying and laughing in our office. I can't remember what the joke was, and people from the other offices came to our door. What the hell is going on? You know, we are not making you know, nails, you know, gazillion nails, trying to have a margin that's 0.001 cent cheaper than your competitor or something like that. You know, this is a fabulous piece of work that we do. We're trying to find oil 3 kilometers under the ground. I don't even know what's below this carpet here. You know, so it's a fabulous challenge, technically. You work with very intelligent people who also have very other interests other than only oil and seismic and that sort of stuff. So, you know, you can have a lot of fun in the oil industry. And I sometimes wonder whether you have the same in banking or something like that. So I think it's actually a great industry. And even though the oil price is halved, it's still a humongously big industry. Well, that's it. So I hope there are any nuggets of advice there. And, but what did Oscar Wilde say? Make up your own mind. So thank you for that. So I don't disappear.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's continue and review the answer we got from the other question, which was, what is the main argument that makes you stay some years in the same company? The answers are high and constant increase in salary, diversity of projects, more and more responsibility project management. Other, we have Thai, which is between B and C, diversity of projects, more and more responsibility and project management. And other 13, and surprisingly high constant salary, you know, becomes is the last one. I do strongly agree with the 2 answers. You know, myself being a postdoc, and I thought I was going to have an easy life. It did not turn out that way. As always, when one asks me, I say I'm extremely busy, but always say that's a very good busy. I have to learn to juggle many different projects at the same time, and I kind of do love that. So I really think, kind of agree what, the answer is. It's like that definitely the diversity of your job is what keeps it interesting. And, that's what like say, okay, good, oh, good day, I'm going to work, I like that. You don't want to, I guess, never end up at the time where you say, oh man, I don't want to go to work, it's boring. So be sure, to try to, someone, you don't always have to say yes if someone asks you to jump to another project, but I always consider that. And also, the responsibility part is something I also had to learn. When I started my postdoc, actually, I was supposed to start teaching after a week, when I kind of managed to postpone for 2 weeks. Then I started, supervising students. I was a little bit afraid, I must say, at the beginning, but it's something that I really got to enjoy, and that's where you really learn, like the human component of your job is to to deal with people and so on. Does anyone want to comment on this? Want to add anything? Nope. Well, I guess we proceed. Hello.